Hey there, cool cats. I can't even do it. That's too much. Getting chills on my spine just thinking about that lady. She definitely did something. Remember that? Remember when Tiger King was the craziest shit going on? Boy, who would have thought we'd be here now? I know I sure didn't. Hello. It is I, yet again, your companion for destruction, Adam Pecora, customer services resident bad boy. Requiem for a Tuesday, episode 25, the milestone. We at quarter century here, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I don't know. I'm a numbers guy, and the big 2-5. I got one for every year I've been alive so far, so that's not really saying much. I don't know why I thought that would matter. But yeah, first things first, the huge. Follow me on Instagram at adam.rfat, RFAT. Email the podcast. You got any hot goss or whatever. rfatpodcast@gmail.com. And then rate, review, subscribe. Let's keep this show growing. A little bit of a detriment to that is on me. I had said in the previous episode I was going to go bi-weekly for the time being, and here we are on a tri-week thing. It's been 3 weeks, and I fucked up. That's just on me, and we'll be more consistent moving forward. Basically, what I'm kind of going to get into today, went on a nice little journey, little excursion, if you will, little trek. I just bought a new thesaurus, so I'm testing it out. But yeah, and then, got back and just wasn't vibing. I'll get into all that. But basically, yeah, I was just like I tried, I sat down multiple occasions. Maybe it was once, a couple times in a day, whatever. And I was just like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. We got to bang this out. And I just wasn't in the right place. Just didn't work out. And especially given that this is a 25th anniversary special, wanted to make sure the episode was tip-top. Not that I don't want that to be the case most of the time. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. We run in with that. Whatever just happened there. And then I can't wait to do another one the next week, too. I feel like if you hit a really good episode, it's a lot harder to top. It's weird. Could you imagine how Michael Jordan must have felt? But yeah, so going forward should be a fixed issue. Probably going to stay bi-weekly for right now, but who knows what may, happen, I guess. I was trying to think of another good word, but my thesaurus ran out. I only bought the trial version. So, yikes. But yeah, so 2 weeks ago now, little bit of backstory, I guess, before I even jump into that past endeavor. Me and my buddy Justice, a very good friend of the show, the first guest we ever had. We went on a little journey. Spiritual in some ways, physical in all the literal ways. We drove somewhere. We were going to go see a homie down in Arkansas. We are not allowed to travel to Arkansas, so we did not do that. Quite as simple as that gets. There's currently a travel restriction where if you are there, you have to quarantine yourself for 2 weeks. Basically, regardless of what you do there. It's just like if you cross those borders and, just with morality at play and just, trying to be decent, probably advised correctly to ourselves that, yeah, see, I lost it there, and I tried to make it seem like I didn't just make a mistake, but I made a mistake. You heard it right. We told ourselves, hey, we probably shouldn't just lie to institutions at place as to where we just were, and also potentially risk the spread of the disease, which is the whole point of said quarantine. So, just being compliant in safety. We're like, sorry, bud. Next time, we'll be out there. So we're like, how do we basically transform this into just a wacky little adventure? Um, Funny you should ask, Adam. So pretty much we just decided that we were originally going to go all the way through Missouri to Kansas City just to try some fucking barbecue, which was an A1 decision. Sounds like that may be extreme. Let me tell you, it would have been the biggest mistake I've ever made not to, potentially. Who's to say? And, yeah, I mean, it was fucking cool. And so the original plan, there we go, back on track. The original plan was hit Kansas City, boom, hit Arkansas. You kind of just got to go south and you're there. So now we just said, fuck it, like, let's sleep in the woods instead. Now, we were going to sleep on a farm, so it's not like a dramatic shift. So we basically tried to do that. And it was sick. I think that the ideal way to accomplish any road trip is to break it up as much as possible. You want to stop in as many fun places along the way. It's a thing that I have now done on, many consecutive a trip. So, and too much success. Broke it up, finally hit Springfield, Illinois. Many may not know that it is the capital of Illinois. Surprising that the state acknowledges that anywhere other than Chicago exists, because let me tell you, two whole other worlds. And Springfield was nice. It was like a very poor man's Madison. But Madison's just very nice. So it's hard to gauge. It wasn't like it wasn't like nasty or anything. Although I will say there was a barker for the weed shop there. Just like on the sidewalk, just screaming at people, "Hey, we got weed. Come buy this weed from me." And, not to play like the big city guy card here, because this would be true even in the suburb I grew up in, which wasn't, nearly as far as Springfield. But I mean, nobody's impressed. And nobody thinks that it's that crazy to buy weed. And I just feel like this dude was really trying to hammer it home. Like, can you believe it? And I'm like, yeah, I was buying weed in 8th grade, bro. How are you going to try to act like I should be astounded by this? There were a bunch of dudes right in like this. There was like a marquee. I think that the building may have been next to a theater of some sort. I didn't really pay attention. But there were a bunch of dudes like hanging under this marquee. It was a hot day, they were trying to get some shade. And we were in the area because I was like, fuck it. If we're passing through the state government, let me see if any of these government buildings are open. Let me talk some bullshit. Because basically the reason why I took... See, we're all circling it all back. It's all coming together. Listen to this narrative success. Basically the reason why I took that last extra week off and missed my bi-weekly appointment, just going through a bunch of government bullshit. And it was stressing me out to the point to which I could not perform at a level that I saw fit. You know what I mean? It's funny that I can claim that. That doesn't seem like it's valid, right? I'm just a guy fucking... I'm literally sitting in a chair just talking to myself right now. It's like fucking insanity that this is considered a thing, even. I love it. I mean, it's all I've ever wanted. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so all these dudes, I was like, fuck it, let me try to sort out this government bullshit while we're here, at the source. You know what I mean? It doesn't get more fine than that. It's like trying to go to DC to like complain about your income or your your federal taxes. I'm going to the White House. I don't know, but all the shit was closed and maps took me to the wrong place, whatever. So we ended up right outside this weed store. And all these dudes in the marquee are like collecting cans and they're like sweaty. They look like, I don't know if they are homeless or just by circumstance at the moment. But they were pretty much like, yeah, bro, all the offices are closed and they're fucking us all over too. And you know what I mean? These dudes are like living downtown right now. So I think that they're pretty aware. And the irony of like this crazy ass dude just screaming that you can buy weed like it's a fucking miracle while these dudes are juxtaposed up right next door, standing outside, like barely able to get through the day. Whatever their deal was, I didn't really ask, but they're like, yeah, shit's fucked up, bro. And I was like, yeah, I know, man. It's rough. Good luck, and then peace out. But then, so I decided to humor this guy. I hear him yelling at everybody that's walking by while we're talking to these other guys figuring out the unemployment office scenario. The government's closed is all that we learned. And this dude is like, oh, like, y'all trying to buy some weed? And I was like, are you guys doing like medical only? Because right now, I've been to the dispensary once. Just because it was a thing that I wanted to be able to have said that I could do. I do not need that access. It's not worth it, frankly. I'm just in a very fortunate scenario. So I'm not like a big dispensary guy. There was a fear of drought though, so I was like looking into like what are my options, and luckily I didn't need to exercise those options. But dispensary rules was like medical only, bro. Like, fuck y'all. So I'm like, oh, we're in Springfield. Is that the same rule here? If not, why not? If the price is right. And the prices were not right, is all that I learned. You're going to be paying hella scratch no matter what dispensary you are at within this state. So far, anyway. And this dude was just like, yeah, well, and I'm just like, yeah, like we're from Chicago in the city right now. We can't do that. And he's like, yeah, dude, we got this crazy shit. He's like, we got this Bubba Kush from Cali. And I'm like, that's not impressive to me, man. I'm sorry. I wish it was. You know what I mean? But he's like trying to sell me and act like, he's just like got the business. It's like, dude, I was just curious to see if I could get a little extra bud for the road. We're already good, bro. You are way too into this. Mind you, this was like 11 a.m. We left around 8 in the morning. And so, yeah, that's like it was like 3 hours roughly. I don't know. But so, I mean, this is like before noon and this dude's out here just like trying to hustle me. And I'm like, I don't want your $60 eighth, man. And then we pretty much hit the road and came back. They preserved what is claimed to be Abe Lincoln's house. I don't know if I buy it. Either way, pretty regular house. It was a long time ago. So, whatever. That was Springfield. It was chill. Would have been a sick field trip for sure. Definitely missed out on that opportunity. We didn't have those kind of options where I come from. But what a nice little way. Was able to just skate in the street with no interruptions, no horns. That's a beautiful thing. That's a thing that I will always cherish when I have the opportunity to do that. But that was pretty much it. Yeah, we just kind of cruised around and got out of there. Nothing too earth-shattering. But then we, on the way to the Gateway of the West, immediately then on. I love when I am able to channel this this literary text of speech, and it just kind of flows out of me. It's great. But yeah, so then we hit the gooey St. Louis, as I like to call it now, for the first of 2 times in one trip. Who would have thunk? Which I'll obviously get to. See, I'm just setting up my own circle backs. This is impressive. I want you all to tell me it's impressive. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're basically like, all right, let's fucking hit St. Louis. I'd been there once as a kid, technically twice, I guess. One time was like legit on purpose, and we just like took an Amtrak down there, pretty chill, and it was a good time. I was a kid. We did like a tour of the baseball stadium and like the Busch Brewery. I will say, having been to both the Busch and Miller breweries, Miller Brewery, way shittier in appearance across the board. Infinitely better products. I'm a big High Life guy. Miller Lite's pretty good. Shout out to Miller. It's Miller time. Yeah, I don't know. And then we just kind of did some shit, came back. I think there was like a Six Flags. There's like a Six Flags outside of the city somewhere, You did some shit. It was cool. There was another time we were supposed to get a connecting flight home. We were flying standby out of Florida, I believe. And this chick's like, yeah, well, all right, we can't get you any flights to Chicago, so we don't want you to have to sleep here. We'll ship you over to St. Louis, and we'll get you a connecting flight out of there. You probably won't have to wait. We're like, oh, great. What a helpful lady. And then we arrive in St. Louis, and they're like, you don't have any tickets? And we're like, no, she just said we would be able to do it. And they're like, you need tickets to fly a plane. So no, you're not going to get put on any plane. You know what I mean? She's just like, some lady a few hours ago in Florida told you this? Yeah, there's no way we can contact that person. And no. And so we're like, oh, great. And we ended up having to get yet another Amtrak ticket. Take the train back from St. Louis. That was a crazy journey. I think I had to get to school like within a couple days. It was pretty dicey. It wasn't fun. And yeah, we had to stay up all night and then take a train back, I think. That sounds correct. Because I think when we took the train there, something happened on the way back, and we had to take a bus, and that sucked too. Crazy times. The St. Louis Blues, they're there for a reason. This time we were just like, there's the Arch, that's pretty chill. Let me get some Emo's Pizza, and for those of you who don't know, they use this crazy-ass, Velveeta-type cheese that's 5 cheeses in one, just molded into a block, and it gets gooey. Hence, the gooey St. Louis. We get to the first one we can find. It's in the lobby of this hotel. There's a family at the table. No one else around. There are no people in this entire restaurant. There's some noises coming from the kitchen. Seems like one person is the host, waiter, and cook. So we get the fuck out of there. Try to walk to the next one, realize it's far. Have to walk all the way back to the car. Whole disaster, just a whole stressful scenario, just trying to get a fucking pizza. We get to the next location, okay? The closest next one. This one's interior is completely closed. They're accepting orders from the phone only. I call the number. The line fucking gives me one of those noises, super fucking loud right in my ear. And I'm like, bro, I'm ready to just leave this place. Driving me up the fucking wall. We eventually get him on the phone, get the pizza. It's fucking amazing, bro. They have this crazy, thin, crackery crust. In a good way. It's not like a cracker. It's a crackery. Well, I guess it is like a cracker. It's not literally like, oh, a cracker with cheese on it. They did a good job. That's all I'm saying. Fucking delicious. And there's like 1,000 of them. Every single part of St. Louis we went to, in the city, out of the city, possibly in the suburbs. I don't really know what the parameters are. They were everywhere. Every single place. It was like the pizza of the stadium, airport, malls. Like, you know what I mean? It was like everywhere. There was one everywhere. It was like, I can only equate it to McDonald's. There's nothing like it in all the cities I've been to, which, I mean, albeit not a crazy amount, but there's no just like local chain that is that dominant anywhere, as far as I can remember. So highly recommend that if you're ever fucking down there. Go fucking try that. Big ups on the weird cheese. It's fucking weird. So you might hate it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we hop in the whip. By the way, we rented like a fucking Jeep SUV. There's nothing like new cars. I only really ever have the opportunity to pilot such a new vehicle when renting, which is even better, because then it's just like, I especially don't give a fuck. And like, nothing's gonna happen, so just that freedom of being able to just gun it, whip that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, nothing reckless, but just like, I'll take this turn pretty hot. Like, let me have fun. I'm cruising. And it was especially dope because, like, right outside of St. Louis is like the Mark Twain National Forest, which we ended up at the next night. So it'll end up, we basically went to Kansas City and back, so I'll kind of end up back at that spot. But we're going through this national forest area, and it's like massive, bro. According to Google, which I don't know how accurate this is, it was like 10 times the size of Rhode Island or something crazy like that. Just for a gauge, Rhode Island's a state, so like it's small for that, but still a chunk of change. So anyway, and it's like part of the Ozarks and shit. So a whole lot of like windy, curvy, hilly, fun roads, man. And it was like driving in auto commercials. It's like, oh, this is like the type of place where they film all these things. And that was super cool. But it was also super stressful because I'm trying to like peep these views, and it's like, oh shit, brrr, I just kept veering off side to side because you really got to be on it. You know what I mean? And that's a cool adjustment. It's like, it made driving fun. It's like, I don't mind having to go these long distances because I'm like on it, paying attention. I feel like it's the reason why people who are into manual driving are into it. It's so they're always in tune with the car. They're always kind of active doing something. It's an experience. You're fucking working, clutching, whatever the fuck it entails. Now, that's not for me, period. I don't want to have to worry about any of that. But I do understand the appeal of just like when you're sitting there and shit is just boring, or when you're just cruising on a straight, flat thing. There's like no thought of it. I mean, there's plenty of early mornings shifts where I didn't know how I got there. You know what I mean? Like, you're tired, the route, you don't really have to pay attention. You kind of just know that there's no traffic, so you're kind of just doing whatever the fuck. That was me ducking out. Can you hear me ducking out? That's me whipping. Over here. You know what I mean? Keeping that bitch tight. Sorry if that's offensive to any dogs out there. We love you. Must love dogs. It's a rule. Anywho, so yeah, we're whipping these crazy roads. We end up in Columbia, Missouri. Pretty much a shithole. Sorry. I feel like that's the case for like every college town ever, though. It's not like U of I is like fucking, oh, I love Champaign, Illinois. Don't get me wrong. There was some other school there that I don't even remember what it was. Seemed like a pretty nice campus. And then we roll up on good old Mizzou, Chase Daniel's alma mater, the legend, one of the, let me just say, like one of the most dream careers you could ever have, like just period. Definitely not in sports, because in sports, his career kind of sucks, because like I feel like athletes want to play. Right. But for anyone who watched the show Blue Mountain State, the main character's entire goal was to coast being a backup forever. He wanted the Chase Daniel lifestyle. Chase Daniel had a killer season at Missouri, probably thanks entirely to Jeremy Maclin. That's how I remember it. And has gotten to play in the NFL for like fucking 14 years. He's played like 6 games. Unbelievable. Dude has made like $50 million or something crazy over the course of his career and has like never played. It is the luckiest position you could possibly be in. It's like you're not really at any risk. You might get a Super Bowl ring by chance. You know what I mean? You're just chilling. And then if your dude gets hurt and you play great, it's like, what a good backup. Wow. This is awesome. If you don't play great, it's like, well, he wasn't really expecting to play. Because he hasn't been good. Let me tell you, as a Bears fan, Chase Daniel fucking sucks. So I was excited to go to the University of Missouri for all that reason. And skated through some of the campus for a minute, and let me tell you, glorious. I was like, dude, I could live here. All of the pavement was just suitable for fucking boards, and the roads all connected. And I'm just into campuses. Was never a campus guy. Never was fortunate. Went to a city school downtown in a high-rise building. So we weren't even really allowed to be in the alley. We just kind of had to stand by it. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have any of that. I didn't have a quad. So I never got to know what it was like to have a quad. I don't think I would have made it in regular college. I think that I would have just partied and never gone. You know what I mean? I would have just been like, oh, well, I have a place to live for free, effectively, because you're a kid. You don't understand that. You're really going to have to pay for this, bud. But just letting you know, it will not work out the way you think it will, because you're a kid. You're wrong. I was wrong. We were all wrong. But yeah, it's fucking sick. It was beautiful. It seemed like a lot of the places didn't have air conditioning. Sorry for y'all if you were like living while we were there. Must have been rough. But I mean, it was like dead empty too because of summer and a global pandemic. What a combination for a free college campus. And it was a blast. I thought about like trying to find a food spot, but it's just like, it's just a college food spot. We got to save we're doing big guns here. We're getting legendary pizza, and now we're on our way to legendary barbecue. And let me just say this, that I have heard pretty much zero good things about Kansas City. I feel like it has a pretty bad reputation. I don't know why that's in my head, but I'm just like, this place will probably be pretty underwhelming, and then, we'll pretty much hightail it. So the plan was like, we were just going to get there, get some food, kind of scope it out, maybe like an hour or two, if that, and go sleep outside somewhere. We were going to go to a park, right? Let me tell you, first of all, we were a little behind in time. So we get there like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Let me tell you, just rolling up on this place, I was like, this place is incredible. Great road system. I say that about almost every other place I go to. Frequently Milwaukee. Every time we drive into Milwaukee, even though one time I left Milwaukee, all the fucking ramps were closed. We had to take a back road the whole way back because they wouldn't let us on the highway. Don't know what happened there. But other than that, like their traffic system, pretty good. Indianapolis, good traffic system. They have like a roundabout in like the center, which is like a city planner's fucking wet dream, I would assume. But the road in Kansas City, like going uphill, you get to see the Royal Stadium. It's like all fucking weird and cool looking from the side of the highway. And then just, Great skyline. Big ups to KC. Crazy. Just didn't expect it. They got a riverwalk. They have a lot of great shit. You know, a lot of blues and jazz stuff. And, you know, phenomenal barbecue. Just a nice, cool looking place. And everybody was pretty chill. And we were like, this place is pretty sick. Let's not sleep in the woods. Because also, fuck that. And decided to spend the night in good old KC. Feasted on some barbecue. You know. Smoked some of that non-legal, not Springfield weed. And had myself a feast. I can say hands down the best barbecue I've ever had in my entire life. So if you ever feel like you've had a spot, you haven't. You have to go to the South. I've been to Memphis as well. I was too young to remember. I'm not trying to say like KC is the barbecue city. I'm just saying like you're not having it unless you're going somewhere. You know what I mean? I feel like Tennessee would probably be more my vibe anyway. They use like the sweet sauces and stuff. That's kind of more where I'm at. I think that they go more baby back there too. Kind of a baby back guy. You know, pork's just, it's a tastier dish. What can I say? But unbelievable, bro. They have like a signature Sammy. It's got, just thinking about it's got me all fucked up. It's got like pork and brisket and onion rings and cheese and shit. And it's like nuts. Got a fucking rack of ribs, fucking pound of brisket, pounded it out. You know what I mean? Then roamed the streets for a little bit, and it was just great spot. Absolutely loved it there. Very unexpected. They had an incredible skate park totally designed for making real lines and doing real runs and actual street scenarios. And it also has a bowl, which is huge for me because I'm a cruiser guy. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bitch. I know. What can I say? I like to go fast. You know, I got a penny. Well, it's a nickel. Shout out to Penny Skateboards. Australia's finest. But yeah, cruising around in a bowl was fucking amazing. Don't get to do that very often. So that was very fun. Shout out to Kansas City. Just got all the shit going on. Nice parks. You know what I mean? Like I could just go on nice buildings, nice architecture. They have fucking cable cars there. I was like, what? They also had buses. So I was like, why do you need both of these? This seems inefficient. But there wasn't any traffic. So it's like, oh, they're just like, fuck it. Who cares? Not a drop of traffic. The whole goddamn time. And also just general road conditions. If anyone from outside of Illinois is listening, roads in Illinois, like as a state, are very patchwork and very shitty. And they're bumpy, and there's potholes, and they're covered in rocks and shit everywhere. Up and down, north and south, the whole place. And then you cross any border, and it's just like smooth sailing. It's like they just finished working on the road the day before. And it's like, no. They just actually give a shit here. Oh, that makes sense. You know, it's just, it's very frustrating. Because then it fucks up your whip. You know what I mean? You can't just be driving 60 miles an hour and hit like, and then like the road just shifts, or then like, oh, here's a big metal plate that we just put here because the hole is so big. It's like, how about we just repair this and then we don't got to do this? But no. They're like, let's fill it with a cheap, quick material that'll fix it for like 2 months. And then it'll be another cruise problem. And it just cycles forever. And then once you get into the high traffic areas, it's like, well, where we don't have time. How can we do this? We'll just make traffic worse. And then it's like, fuck. Somebody should have done a better job of putting all this together. You see my frustration. This is why I commemorate any city with a good road system leading into it and such. But anyway, yeah, we were just fucking cruising, smooth roads, smooth sailing, chilling. Hard. It's important that I say that. And it was a fucking great place. Would go back. They have Google Fiber. I'm sold. It was hot as fuck there though, but way more tolerable. I don't know what it is. It was like 93, feels like 99 according to the app. Humidity was high, it says. Spent a whole lot of time walking with relative ease because I'm a sweater. Wasn't sweating that bad. I'm a sweater. Put me on. It's chilly. I don't know. Was definitely soaked in sweat, but for whatever reason was just able to handle it a whole lot better. Because I got back and boy, I was like, man, it's humid as fuck out here. Our humidity problem is insane. It's just like the fact that you could drive 6 hours or 5 hours south plus west, and it's just as hot where you were. It's like, what? How is this even possible? You know what I mean? If we drive 6 hours north, it's not going to be the same temperature. I just can't even. You could give me all the scientific explanations you want. It's just bullshit. It's not cooler, and then it's not any warmer when you need it to be. It is just a horrendous and very ridiculous climate that I live in. It's brutal. And that's why I'm fucking screaming all the time. It's like, oh, it's hot. It's literally storming right now. It's like 88 degrees. Can't enjoy anything. But yeah, fucking cruising through country roads, going through little hick towns with like strippers and national parks in them is crazy. Beautiful sights all along the way. We ended up at the Lake of the Ozarks. Cool place to drive through. Pretty lackluster. I mean, huge lake was dope, but I'm trying to see more mountainy stuff. You know, I got lake vibes down pretty good. But amazing to drive through the area, just these winding, crazy roads, bridges and stuff. So pretty sick. And then, you know, being behind on time, as we frequently are and were, ended up getting to the campsite basically at fucking nighttime. Saw a bunch of little boar. There's cows everywhere in fucking Missouri. I don't know what that's about. I didn't know. I thought that was more south or more west or whatever. It just doesn't seem like a Missouri thing to have cows, but cows, horses everywhere. We saw like wild piggies chilling at the campsite when we rolled up. Fucking, you name it. We had it. But that's not true. No, we rolled up fucking pitch black. We're trying to set up a fire to eat our leftover St. Louis food and Kansas City food. We saved some of that pizza, saved some of that barbecue. You know what I mean? Doing it right. So now at this point, we have driven all the way from Kansas City to back to the Mark Twain Forest because we already stopped at Lake of the Ozarks a little bit on the way. So you see what I mean? Breaking it up. And let me tell you, setting up a tent in the dark, pretty rough. Thank God for those Jeep LED lights. This episode is sponsored by Jeep Lights. Just the lights for when it's dark. And yeah, we get all that shit going. Fucking sleeping outside is the worst shit ever. It was terrible. And I got up at like 5 and just slept in the car. I slept maybe 2 hours. It was pretty rough. But anyway, did a nice little hike there. Saw some cool shit. Boom. Dipped out. Found the next spot. Now, this was the gem that I was looking for in a crazy natural forest environment. So, stumbled upon this place called The Shut-Ins. Johnson's Shut-Ins. I was like, that doesn't sound like a fun place to go, as you may have just thought. But quite the contrary. It's like this weird bed of rock formations that happened because of some volcano shit, I guess. And water just flows right through it all. And there's just like a ton of these like waterfalls and like rock pockets, I can only describe them as, where they're basically just like these like little tubs, and there's like little individual pools that then turn into like one big massive like opening, and then it's in the middle of a mountain area, so you can like hike up the hills and look at it from above in these mountain ranges. Really just an ideal amalgamation of all things, but it was hot as fuck, so like, let's try to swim. So we hop in this big quarry thing, and we see that all of a sudden everybody is jumping off of this big ass fucking cliff. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a fucking cliff. It had to be 40 feet high. Some people are going at like, there's like a little rock next to it. You know, it's maybe 5 feet lower. And we just keep watching people. I was like, man, I would love to try that, but I am a coward and I'm afraid. And people just keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's like, fuck, man, I'm going to regret not trying that if I leave here. And then eventually, these two, like, gorgeous, beautiful, model-worthy, like, 1980s blonde, like, queen women. You know what I mean? Like any movie in the 80s that had like just like a hot blonde and the, you know, those, you know what I'm talking about. The Suzanne Summers type. Holy shit. But something along those lines, if that helps you. Maybe a Jennifer Grey type. That's not good. Disregard that. Just, you know, you get what I'm saying. Christy Brinkley? Was she blonde? I don't even know what she looked like. That's just like one of those names that's rattling around when shit hits the fan, I guess. I guess that I'm just trying to pull my Christy Brinkley card whenever I'm in a hot spot. But anyway, so they end up doing it. Now, in the meantime, a bunch of people have also gone up and chickened out of all genders and sizes and ages and whatever. But these are like two, like, I couldn't even look at these women and feel comfortable. You know what I mean? It's just like so insane the level that they're at that it's like we're not even at the same place right now. You know what I mean? It's like I shouldn't be watching. I hope we don't make eye contact. You know what I mean? You'll probably think that I'm disgusting. Just on sight. Just for looking. And, you know, you wouldn't be wrong. I mean, in comparison, it's like a goblin and, you know, whatever. Princess Diana. Imagine if a goblin was like, I love you, Princess Diana. She wouldn't have been like, oh, thanks. She'd be like, you're fucking gross, bro. You like how I stay relevant with my Princess Diana jokes? But basically that was when I was like, all right, so we're going to do that, right? And Justice, of course, without hesitation, was like, yeah, obviously. And it's just so funny that that's just like such like a male ego thing that happened, which is not my thing in any means. I do not consider myself to be very macho. If you need something that needs fixing, let's get on Google and find out who to call, because you shouldn't have asked me. But I can help you do some research. But yeah, it was just like a pure, for whatever reason, I can tell that's exactly what it was. I was like, they just did that. Don't emasculate me. You know what I mean? I have no idea who they were. They did not speak or look or, you know what I mean? Any type of communication towards me personally. But I took it personally. I was just like, you're going to fucking do that and I'm going to sit here and be afraid? No fucking chance am I going to be afraid. And then I got up there and let me tell you, I was afraid. I was so scared that I didn't run while jumping off. I just tried to like push myself off the edge. Retroactively, may have been a very risky move. Don't know. Don't really want to find out. Ended up doing it. Crazy experience. Okay. Gravity accelerates. And I think I knew that already. You know, basic physics is pretty simple and logical. For me, anyway. But they don't tell you, I guess, what human velocity is like. I feel like I wish I knew that information. Now, don't get me wrong, it was exhilarating, but you just are a fucking comet coming down. It's like, okay, you're falling and this is fun. And then it's like, oh shit, you're really, really falling. And it's kind of like in like Warzone when you get dropped, if you don't let the parachute go, how it just gets faster and faster, even on a 40-foot drop. That happened. And I was so like couldn't think that my arms were just wide open like a bird and they slapped the water pretty hard. And when you are not the person doing it, that sounds like somebody just died. So I get up and everybody's like, "Bro, are you good?" I was like, "Yeah, what?" And let me tell you, my arms definitely hurt, but there was enough adrenaline pumping through me that it was not any real pain that I could even process. But I mean, in retrospect, it's like, probably should not have done that. That was fucking crazy and reckless, and that's why guys are fucking dumb. You just get that fucking testosterone pumping, and you're like, bro, I'm gonna fucking rip this shit. You think you're more extreme than me, bro? You think you're more extreme? I'm gonna do a backflip off this moving vehicle. You know what I mean? It's just like crazy. Great experience though. Highly recommend it if you ever got the fucking balls. Then it was also pretty much, I didn't want to climb down. It was a hard, rough climb up. And it's like I put in all this effort, one, and two, just like going down. Other people are trying to come up. Like, I'm really gonna be like that soft about it. You know what I mean? Especially after that. You know? I made Justice go first. He survived, so I was like, oh well, I really don't have a choice now. So that was fucking nuts. I know I've been a little short on the bits, kind of just doing story time today, but that, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Might have a few more story times coming up. That might be how we get through the rest of the summer. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I mean, then that was pretty much it. Then we hit St. Louis, did another one of those, because Priceline is a savior. You know, they got this thing where it's like you can pay this little amount of money for a hotel that's pretty nice. Where I'm just like, okay, let's do it. And then both times, boom, get a nice hotel, like 60, 70 bucks. Chilling. We were at the Union Station Hotel in St. Louis. That was where we ended up. Because we're like, fuck, spend another night in the woods. So we drove right on back to St. Louis. The Union Station Hotel is like this big castle that is a hotel. It is the Union Station, so it is like their train station hub. I believe I sat in the lobby when I was a kid in that previous story I told you about. When we were waiting for the Amtrak, we sat in the Union Station lobby because that was all we could do. And I fell asleep, woke up, ended up coming home. So that was cool. But it was like weird to be back because I kind of remembered the one spot. But we walked this whole hotel, man. This place is crazy. It's like Overlook Hotel style big. There's a convention thing on the ground. There's like a theater thing, a dance thing. There's an aquarium attached, a whole food court. Like, there's a fucking Ferris wheel. It is like a crazy, crazy place. And the hotel is like broken up into all these sections, and there's all these like vintage things, and it literally reminded me of The Shining a lot, in a good way. You know, like, wow, the set pieces here are just fucking nuts. So if anyone needed to do any hotel filming for anything, anytime, you should try to get a chance to film there, because they really just have all the shit you need. It's like all this like mid-century cool shit. I really don't know how else to describe it. There's like a grand piano. We were playing a little. I found the runaway keys. Security guard got mad. Gave a Kanye shout out though, so it's like he wasn't really mad. He was just doing his job. I respect that. I respect you doing your job, especially when you ain't dissing. You know what I mean? When you give the love and you're like, sorry, bro, I just gotta. It's fine. You know. Put some hours by the piano thing though. Be like, don't use the piano after 9:00. Tell me that, and I won't. I wouldn't even do it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, they have this whole like grand lobby with these like giant arched ceilings and this like vintage bar right there, and then they just do like projection mapping animations over this big domed like stone ceiling, and everything is carved, and it was fucking trippy. And I sat at that bar, had a couple drinks, they were pretty potent too. Shout out to the Union Station Hotel St. Louis bartender. She poured them on thick, and I just got zoned out and hung out and watched some crazy videos on a ceiling, and then that was pretty much it. Wild times. I tried to steal a wet floor sign, didn't work. Spilled a smoothie, couldn't tell anybody about it. Got impatient, needed to eat it. Sorry, and then they didn't clean it. Couldn't win with the staff there, unfortunately. But just a crazy all around time. You know what I mean? You gotta get out there. Gotta go to these crazy places. Staying in wild ass hotels like that. That's what it's about. Why am I sleeping on the ground next to a tree with just a pillow? You know what I mean? I'm not into this. It's hot. Give me air conditioning. Give me HBO. Let me wander around barefoot. Let me tell you, if you don't walk around your hotel hallways with not barefoot, like wear socks, you know? But like you should be shoeless walking around hotels. I mean, there's nothing like walking shoeless through your hotel hallway. Just live a little, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I mean, obviously there was like a million things that happened in between, but let me just say that the real reason, well, I mean, I wanted to tell that story not because it was particularly an amazing anecdote. I'm sure I'm sure that it was the most interesting thing that I've done all year because I've been mostly chilling inside, Corona style. So it was just super nice to fucking get out. You know, I had another trip canceled. You know, the old boys, we were supposed to go Nashville to Asheville. All fell through. So it was good to hit the road. But the reason why this all really, really especially ties together is because I have recently been going through that show Alone that has been being raved about in various outlets and from various people. I found out about it through like Joe Rogan and shit. You know, where else? But he had the winner on, and the winner was fucking amazing of the most recent season. So I watched that most recent season, and it was unbelievable. So I've been kind of going through the other ones now, and still good. I mean, the newest one was the best one, which is just great news for that series going forward. But it's all very crazy, very interesting. What these people are able to do is amazing. It also makes me feel a lot better about just like all the chaos that's going on in the country right now. You know, because you think like, man, shit is so fucked up here. And it's like, well, you know, at least I'm not trying to kill a rat to eat its balls because I'm about to die. You know, it's like really just puts things into a nicer perspective. It's like, damn, at least I'm not this fucking crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a comfort there that's hard to explain, but it definitely works, especially contrasted against like what they're going through. So it's also like riveting just to watch them like struggle. It's like, bro, you have to like get your shit together. So it's like you're invested in the individual people, but then you're also like, I also feel good. I feel bad and good. I feel bad for them, good for me. Love it. But if you're not familiar, just a quick recap. It's literally like 10 people go out into the middle of fucking really harsh, open natural environments, untouched by people. There's nobody around. They get 10 basic items. There's no machinery. There's not even like advanced levels. It is like all primitive, Like they have like an axe and like a hand saw, but there's no like tool, there's no power tools, there's nothing like nothing extra. And they get like they don't get shelter, they don't get anything. You have to do everything yourself. Um so yeah, that's what all those people are going through. So I've been watching that a lot. And that combined with like, getting to go on that trip again. I always love, getting to drive to places. I mean, I'm down to fly. It's just not usually feasible to fly 5, 6 people somewhere, or even on an individual level. Like, it's really just not always the move. And we kind of just pick destinations that are drivable instead, which works out. But anyway, I always love fucking going on trips, just doing that shit, regardless of the method. But so that combined with that show, it just kind of led me on this. I've had this idea really fixed in my head of getting like a Sprinter van, like a basic cargo van, like a U-Haul thing that U-Haul would have. It's not like a box truck, obviously. Those are box trucks. I would have said that. Anyway, but basically just like fitting that out with like a bed and just like a little ghetto thing, like put some pallets in there and throw like a camping mattress on it, whatever. Wouldn't cost much, like things that would be like free of means, but like, just getting one with sure a lot of miles on it, whatever, just as long as it can drive, and basically just driving to all the places I've wanted to get to go to. Because I mean, when is there going to be a better time than right now, both in my life and in society? There's just like nothing happening. And nothing crazy. I'm not talking about like living out of it, like living out of it temporarily. You know what I mean? Like go out for like a week or two, and it's just like that's my room for the night, but not like making that my house. Would definitely be coming back. In this dream scenario, now it's like you could run out for 2 weeks, you could run out for a month, you could run out for like fucking a weekend, whatever. The point is just like not having lodging costs or transportation costs. They're all in one thing. It's like as long as this thing's running, I just have to put gas in it. And so that would be the tricky part, is like trying to find somebody who's slinging one of those that'll actually work for you for a while for not very much money. You know what I mean? Because it's like ideally you'd want to throw like 2 G's at this thing. Would be like a max scenario and again, this is all like if all the stars aligned and I could do it, but it would just be fucking cool I mean, it would be more ideal to just have the money to be able to just like stay places and get there easier, but it's just like, you can park at a rest stop or a campsite and just like sleep in the back, and that's what's ideal about it. It's like, 'cause yeah, I already have a car, but there's no way to make that like a comfortable environment to be in. And it's basically just like, let's say you drop $2,000. It's like, if I can make that last me just to like 8 different places, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be any like amount of time. It doesn't have to be a year. It's just like, let's say I can get to like crazy cities that I never thought that I'd get to. Well, then it's like entirely worth it. So that's what I'm saying. It's like if I could get fucking 6 months out of the thing, but that 6 months is a ton of travel, then it's obviously worth the cost, because you think about the nights you spend in there. It's like that should be money. That should be money every single time. And just, getting you somewhere, that should be money every time. It's like you're able to just get this thing, and then like you don't have to worry about your primary vehicle. That's also just the concern of taking your car somewhere, is that it's yours. Like yours. It's your option. I don't use mine now, so I guess I wouldn't have to treat it as such, but it's like if I need it, I need it. So I can't fuck with it. But it's like if I just got this shitty van I can whip around, it's already got dents in it and shit, I don't care about those. What does that matter? You know what I mean? And then, you just spend all day outside somewhere doing some shit, whatever there is to do, wherever there is to do it. I've always wanted to do a thing where I go through Missoula, Montana. That's just like a David Lynch fanboy thing. He's just like from there, so I just kind of want to get the vibes of that place. But then do like a Portland, Seattle, Vancouver thing. I know that I probably would not be allowed into Vancouver at the current times. No disrespect, Canada. You're making the right decisions. But something like that. It's like I don't want to take my car for that. I would need to stop a bunch of times. You know what I mean? And it's like that same thing. It's like I can stop where I need to stop, do things for a little bit, keep it moving. And the coolest thing about it would be, which is why I'm even bringing it up on this, was that if I can somehow make this come into fruition, I would be bringing my little Tascam, my trusty little microphone, and I would do episodes of the show on the road, and we kind of do like a little story thing. So that is a pipe dream as of right now, for a direction that the show could go for a bit or at times, especially as a guy who is definitely not about to be going on any type of tour anytime soon. And I don't say that as a Corona thing. That just makes it even worse. There was just absolutely no shot of any tour happening for any of my mediums at this point. So why not just do it myself? You know what I mean? If you're going to go DIY, why not go all the way? So I'm going to DIY a little home on wheels / studio on wheels. But that would take a whole lot of stars aligning and, just a lot of very, very, very fortunate cards being dealt into my hand. But, just sharing the thoughts. We're trying to keep things positive, trying to keep things creative, and that may be where the road takes us. In that dream scenario, also, it is an important factor. Merch would be coming to that point. So that's something that, I've been in contact with some people about some things, and I'm working towards it. Like I said, if I can resolve the issues that caused the delay in the episode, then, a whole lot of good things may be happening for the show. But the show must go on regardless, so don't let that deter you. Things just may be getting a whole lot more exciting soon, and trying to keep the mentality that way. And that's why that's why I skipped last week. I just didn't want to bring the mood down. We're here. We're beer, and the Jews did it. Wait. Don't cancel me. I'm not Nick Cannon. Wild 'N Out was a good show. Wait. I'm not supposed to be repping him. Love Don't Cost a Thing was not good. Probably. I didn't see it. But who would... Come on. Sorry, Nick Cannon. You're whack. But, leave Nick Cannon alone. He didn't know any better. Let him keep a job. That's all I'm saying. After what Mariah did to him. I don't actually know what she did to him. But anyway, yeah. So possibly some good things coming soon. We shall see. I'll definitely let you know. Once again, follow me on Instagram. Maybe that's a way I could keep you posted. Hint, hint. At adam.rfat. Link in bio takes you to all my projects of various scopes. And yeah, rate, review, subscribe this show. Let's get the word out. Let's keep this thing rolling. And that's really all I got. So just remember that I are fat, you are fat, we are fat. Calculator.